Hello and apologies. I think apologies are in order, Stevie, because of the last quality of the episode was just shocking, really. But hopefully this one's a little bit better. I can hear you so much better now. Your booming voice is in my ears. Booming voice.
Alan Boom Boom Minter. Showing my age.
Yeah, see, I don't even know who that is, so that's showing my age.
Yeah, he was a famous horse rider. No, he wasn't actually. He was a boxer.
Oh, was he? Okay, well, there you go. So, do you know what? I was never into boxing anyway. Like, it wasn't really my thing. Wrestling, I was into, though.
Big Daddy.
I do love a bit of wrestling. I actually started watching some of the old stuff, some of the old WrestleManias and whatnot. But anyway, Stevie, how you been? How you doing?
No, well, actually, before we move swiftly on, who is Alan McManus?
Alan McManus? I don't know. Some football player, right?
I don't even know who he is. I just made the name up.
I was going to say, speaking of Alan, though, actually, before we do actually move on, speaking of Alan, why is it that every time Alan Smith is on commentary,
we lose?
Always against Arsenal? He's always against us. Every time he's like, yeah, but you know, he could have done a little bit better. It's like, dude, he just scored an excellent goal. Yeah, but I don't know about that. It's like, why does he feel the need? Yeah, all the time. And I thought he was a former Arsenal player. He won us the 89 championship. Like, I don't understand his problem.
Yeah, he was a little fox in the box, cross between like Havertz and
a prime Jesus.
Trossard or someone shite like that, yeah.
Prime Jesus.
Prime Jesus. I wish.
So that was like 2018 Man City, right? That's when it was.
Yes, absolutely.
And that only one season that he had, yeah, bless him. Well, not really, you know, he gets paid loads. Come on, mate, keep yourself together.
He gets paid loads for putting all to sleep, but never mind.
Yeah,
he's pretty dire, isn't he? But never mind, move on.
Yes, yeah, we'll move on from a diabolical striker. But we kind of have to, don't we? I mean, we kind of have to discuss last night's game. You know, I don't want to, but I feel like we need to, really. And I can see this episode being a very similar episode to the last time we played in the league. Do you know what I mean? So we skipped the Champions League. Last time we played in the league, we had the same conversation, and the time before that, and the time before that as well. So it's been like sort of 5 games where it's just been terrible watching. Like, I thought we had them last night. I honestly thought we had them, and then we just didn't, because I don't know, they just went, fuck it, guys. You know, that's what they said. They just left it.
Do you know what? I wasn't even sure you watched it, did you?
I did, unfortunately. I did watch it, yeah. And do you know what? I watched it with more care than I than I want to admit, really, because it's just nothing. I don't know what to make from that game, and it was very similar issues that kept popping up once again. And one of those, chief amongst, really, is Sterling, which I think is probably the best point to start on, really, the best topic to start on before, you know, and then move on to the rest of the team. Because I don't know about you, but that guy, I've lost hope a while ago, but then watching him last night, you know, trying to combine with Declan Rice, and just the midfield in general, and Thomas Partey just couldn't do it. You know, every time the ball kept getting passed out wide to him, he kept losing it, and you think they tried so hard to get the ball to you, and you have one job, and you can't do that job. So, as far as I'm concerned, like you've said before many times, and now I do believe you strongly, that we play with 10 men when he's playing. We play with 10 men. I don't know how you found his performance, but I'd like to know your opinions.
Well, as you can imagine, it was pretty dire, to be fair. I mean, yes, we all know that he hasn't scored, has he, for us yet in the league. He scored in the cup. It's just as though he's trying too hard. He's just doesn't seem interested. It's kind of depressing, in all honesty, when you watch him, because you know he doesn't even try and move into space. He actually goes with a play, and I'm watching him thinking, you don't really want the ball, because all you're going to do is run, turn back and pass it back, and it's sad, really. And I don't know why. I mean, obviously I do know why Arteta plays him, because we've got nobody else, and B, it's kind of like a game that means nothing, to be fair. So I did make quite a lot of notes last night, but I was deflated. But hats off to Palace. I thought they actually did really well. I thought they played us perfectly. I know we didn't look up for it, and it just looked like it had a bit of a pre-season kind of friendly game, similar to the Everton one. But
those have been the last 5 games. That's been exactly the feel across the 5 games.
Yeah, they played us perfectly. And to be fair, they defended excellent. They didn't give us any space in midfield. We'll go on to like player ratings and things like that at a certain point. But I thought Palace deserved, a lot of credit for what they did and how they kind of came back twice. So, but Sterling. Do we have to sort of still talk about him, because he is, without doubt, a waste of space, and we need to get him gone ASAP.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen. And to be honest, though, I will say one thing about Sterling, kind of a positive, I guess. The matches that he has played, when he's been sort of asked to be in that Odegaard role, in that half space in midfield and attack, I think he's better there because he doesn't have the pace to go past the defender anymore. So it's something that again, just don't use him there. Put him in that role, because he has made some assists. He does still have a decent pass, but just maybe don't ask him to run anymore. Again, like you said, you understand why he's put him on. Like, obviously, we all get it, but at the same time, it's like, well, you could just put Nwaneri there, and then put Sterling in the Odegaard role, and just mix it up like that. Because Nwaneri, he's fearless. He'll go past defenders. Again, Sterling, lack of confidence, lack of game time. Even before Arsenal, he wasn't getting anything. So that's all added up now, and unfortunately, we have been the club to pay the price. By signing a player that's not really a player. You could have signed anyone from the crowd, from the Emirates crowd. I swear to you, and I think they would do a better job, because they would value the badge, the shirt that they're wearing. They would literally die on the field. Even if they don't do anything, they will die on the field. Whereas Sterling, again, he's like, well, I've done everything. Why do I need to run? And unfortunately, that is not the mentality that we need in the team. And none of the youngsters need that in the team. And this is the reason why I brought up Sterling. I know we shouldn't, because he's a lost cause. But the longer he stays with us, the worse it is for developing players. Someone else could have been in that game. If Arteta didn't value this game, which clearly he didn't, look at just watching it, he didn't value it at all. Put academy players on. You've got academy players sat on the bench. You've got 3 of them. Put them on. On from now until the end of the season. Give them a bit of game time. The league you've lost. Obviously, second, it looks like it may be slipping away as well because of these stupid fucking draws, and then Man City, catching up and shit. How is Man City having a better season than us in the league when we've been second for all of it? Do you know what I mean? That's the killer. But anyway, we will get to that. But in terms of Sterling, that's the whole reason why I wanted to mention him. Like there was some good things that I've seen whilst he's played, but he keeps consistently being played in the wrong part of the pitch where he doesn't have any effect anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of becoming a bit of a Aubameyang, I think. A bit of a rotten egg towards the end of the season. He's kind of like a player that does nothing, deflates the rest of the team. I saw Trossard at one point. They were both actually in each other's way. Did you see it? It was on the right hand wing, and Trossard was kind of instigating to say, move out the way, you're in the way, I'll move that way. And it was like, really? This shouldn't be happening. They're both professionals. Trossard obviously frustrated, and I just thought Sterling, like you say, he was a waste of space, and just take him off. And unfortunately, it's sad, because he was a great player and he could have been good, but his head's not right. And I think he's a bit like, he looks like Hamilton, and he kind of is.
It's an insane career trajectory, isn't it? Where it's
bizarre. It's bizarre. It looks like him, and is obviously playing and being like him. Edit that out.
But no, you're right though, and I think there was points in the first and second half before he came off, really, where I think it was Saliba and Timber, they just sort of refused to pass to him, and that they went for different options. And I'm sorry, but if your players are not passing to another player, that just, again, put an academy player in there. Just put someone in there who the senior players in the team would be happy to pass to, because because they know it's like, okay, well, you're going to learn someday, so this is your day to learn now, and they're going to be a bit more patient. Whereas they look at Sterling, that, you know, seasoned professional, he's won all these trophies, blah blah blah, all that shit, but we're not seeing it. And you're right, it's like after Aubameyang signed a thing, that's when he went downhill, and Sterling is just, you know, he's enjoying his payday, I guess, and not being relied upon too much. It's sad. Yeah. It really is sad to see, because again, it's hampering other other players. Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, the stats don't make for any good reading either. It was just a game of you know, it was destined to be a draw, really.
Yeah, it was awful to watch. I was watching it just thinking, please just get another goal. I mean, obviously we had a goal disallowed, which was a bit controversial, because how could VAR see the ball over the line? Yet they saw it over the line. It wasn't over the line when, I think it was it Jared Bowen when West Ham played?
It was Bowen and Gordon. Yeah, it was Bowen and Gordon.
Yeah.
we got screwed twice in that season with
Gordon's
the same
alive. But no,
with the disallowed goal, I was like you until I saw the angle of through the goal and past the post sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean? When you're looking like dead on, and at that point you could see there was a clear line between, like, you know, sort of
the ball and the line. I couldn't see it, but maybe my eyes.
So I was like you. I was like, there's no way they're going to overturn this, because you can't prove it. And then I saw that angle. I was like, okay. Where was that angle when we needed it last season twice?
Yeah.
So it's a bit, it, don't get me wrong, it hurt a little bit, because it was a goal that
would have been 3-1, but
it would have been. I think that would have been the end of it.
If the linesman hadn't flagged for offside, would that goal have stood? Because he flagged for offside, but he didn't flag for the ball going out. So that's why it was VAR, because of the offside. But then they later checked for the. I don't know whether they would have stopped it or whether the ref would have given it.
Yeah, so he made the wrong call for offside, and I think that at that point when they realised, that you know, as the action sort of progressed, they realised that, oh, wait a second, what did Martinelli do here? So okay, so whilst we're here, let's have a look at this incident. But you're right, if he didn't call for offside, wrongly by the way, if he didn't call for offside, that goal would have stood, because no one would have batted an eyelid.
Yeah. I mean, looking at, when I was watching the game, in game, I thought that looked a bit out. That, but when he put the line up, when he put his flag up, I did actually think he was flagging for the ball going out.
Yeah, I didn't see any offside, to be honest. So that was a bit on the confusing side. But look, you know, it would have probably been the end of the match, to be honest. That was 72nd minute when Martinelli got that goal disallowed. So again, that's yes, it would have been the sort of icing on the cake. But let's, you know,
Odegaard, the captain, to take. Drops it in. Kivior! What a brilliant header from the goal! His first goal of the season inside the first 3 minutes. From that distance, to beat the keeper, it's outstanding.
Kivior, my boy, Jacob, yeah, my boy Jacob. He rose up to the challenge. He has become the Polish Gabriel now, and
he's turned into Lewandowski, isn't he? He's awesome.
Jacob Gabriel over here, and I love to see it, or Gabriel Kivior, whichever way you want to do it. But he did exactly what he was designed to do in that role. Boom, header, and by the way, the header was like almost outside of the box.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I when I first looked at it, I actually missed the goal. It was my son that was looking at it, and he was like, goal. And I looked at it and I thought, why was there no players around him? He was free. There was no players within like sort of 5 feet of him, and I thought,
immediately you think offside.
Straight away offside.
Immediately. But again, watching it back, and you think, wow, he actually made such a smart movement there, where literally he fooled everyone because he was just there by himself. But I enjoyed it, and I think it just capped off a good week for him, really. Yes, a full week, wasn't it? Yeah, last week. So it capped off a good week, a good performance, obviously in Madrid, and then with the goal, which brilliant to him. And then about 20 minutes later, Eze scores just an amazing goal, and you can't even be mad at that. I was watching that, I thought, that's a good goal. Can't even be mad.
I was mad. I'm always mad when we concede.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm really getting concerned for Raya, which we'll come to later on. But even for that goal, I'm kind of thinking, what's he doing? He's like flapping around, and
I think the bounce caught him off guard, to be honest.
It did, and it went through obviously quite a ruck of players, and it came in off the post. And
it didn't look good, did it? It didn't look good. Like when he went to dive for it, it just sort of went.
He just looked absolutely useless, and I thought, wow. And he was kind of a mishit by Eze as well. He wasn't really struck like a perfect volley. It bounced about twice, didn't it?
He didn't mean to do that. Like, he thought, right, I'll just get it where the players are, and someone will just sort of divert it in. But no, it was just a good goal.
Yeah, it's a good player.
Eze. Oh, that's brilliant! In off the post from Eze, who bounces in. An excellent equaliser for Crystal Palace. 1-1.
But there aren't many players you'd fancy volleying it home from the edge of the box, but I think Eze's one of them.
He should have been closed down early. I think it was Trossard.
He got fouled. He got held back by Nketiah, didn't he? And Trossard was rushing out to sort of block it, and Nketiah was holding him, but
that's
never
right.
going to get them.
No, I think, and again, you just don't leave a player like Eze out there because he will do that. That's what he does. That's why he's a good player. So you just don't leave him out like that. Like same as Declan Rice. If he stood outside the edge of the box, you just don't leave him by himself because he will. And same as Thomas Partey, don't do it. But like you said before at the top of the podcast, Crystal Palace deserved that because they fought. And Nketiah had a couple of chances. He had that chance, obviously, where he should have backheeled it in, but he didn't, which was weird. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? That was your easiest option, but you decided to turn. And obviously, I think it was my boy Kiwior again, my boy Jakob.
Yeah, he didn't know where the ball was. He stuck his leg out for the trip. Yeah,
he did his job. That's all that matters to me. Yeah, my boy Jakob, Gabriel Kiwior, love it. And so it was very, very open. And
we were all at sea, really. We were on the ropes, weren't we? At that point, we were on the ropes, and it was kind of, I could see.
It was a third gear performance, wasn't it? Like it wasn't, it was a third gear performance, but where the car only has 3 gears. Do you know what I mean? Where it's impossible to go up any further. so yeah, it wasn't good on the eye. And just David Raya. I mean, what was he doing all game, really? What was he doing all fucking game?
All game.
Just flapping around with his massive hands. He's trying to take off. Where are you going, mate? You know what I mean? Stop trying to use them as wings and fucking concentrate on the goal, for God's sake.
I mean, you must have noted all the times that he really flapped around all the time.
He flapped
all night.
Even the commentators were like, even Alan Smith, which most times I don't agree with him, but this time he was like, I don't know what's going on with David Rice. That's probably one of his worst performances that I've seen in the league. And it was terrible performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that kind of unsettled us really playing from the back because even the players could be like, David, I mean, do I really want to pass the ball to you? Because you're just going to flap around, and even if there's no one around you, you're still going to flap. So yeah. Well, I think once that doubt started seeping in, I think that's where we sort of started losing the match and control of it. Yeah, absolutely. And it felt disjointed from back to front, really. I know you said that we gave him a lot of space in midfield. I thought we did well with our midfielders. Thomas Partey had a decent game. I don't think it was his best game.
I thought he was man of the match.
Yeah, genuinely, I think so as well. But obviously, when you compare it to Thomas Partey performances, like against Real, for example, I don't think it was at that level.
That's credit to Palace.
That is credit to Palace, and I didn't like the fact that Mateta got man of the match because it's like, yes, he scored the goal, but surely it should have gone to one of our players at the very least, like a Trossard. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so I think after Eze's goal, Trossard comes back just before the end of the half, gets Urian Timber, great assist, great run. So that's what we love him for. Yeah. And very explosive player, very explosive, and I really enjoy watching him play because it's exciting once everyone is to his rhythm. Odegaard, Saka, and obviously whoever's up front, once they're at his rhythm, that's when magic happens, and he really dictated that goal yesterday as well.
I thought Timber was on a par with man of the match for me. I do like Timber, and I think he just played great.
Fantastic, man. And I love Trossard's finish as well, by the way, that little closed up finish that he just sort of went, I can see a gap, and boom.
Timber. Trossard, very good first touch. Trossard is in red hot form at the moment. He restores Arsenal lead.
It's a lovely bit of footwork, it really is. I mean, the finish in the end was a bit of a bobbly one. Doesn't go in with any quick pace, but it's tucked right in the corner.
You know when racing drivers say if you no longer go for a gap, you're not a racing driver. You know, whatever the quote is. So Trossard's the same. If you no longer go for a gap, there is no goal. So that's what he does.
Yeah, 100%.
And I love, and honestly, when he does that celebration, it fills me with confidence because it's like, right,
he's on
back,
the ball. Yeah,
you're back.
definitely.
And well, I think maybe a couple of episodes ago, we mentioned, didn't we? We said that, you know, we hope that Trossard goes on this crazy run of scoring goals, and hey, let it continue.
No, you know, you're right. I'm not Trossard's biggest fan. I do think he's a skillful technical player. He is like the Ljungberg kind of thing of the past, but you know, he's still yet to convince me. I don't mind him as a 70th minute sub when we've got all our players fit, but yeah, he did all right last night. He scored a goal. He didn't set the world alight, but no one else did. So I'm not really. Yeah.
I agree with that. And I think he's got 8 goals for us. 8 goals, 5 assists in the Premier League alone. So it's not the best return, but I think a couple more goals. I think he's got that in him till the end of the season. So 10 goals and a few assists at the very minimum. Most. I'm happy with that, to be honest. Again, because he's the player that's meant to come in as a substitute. He's never meant to be a starter, and we've seen him as a starter. You know, most of the times he doesn't do well because it just, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe he feels the hate where he's like, why have you benched me? And then he goes and scores 3 goals. That's fine. And I'd much rather have that player. And if he knew himself, it'd be like, do you know what? Just keep me on the bench. Let me get really riled up at Arteta for not putting me on, and then I'll go on and score a few goals. So, but yeah, I want to keep him. And I know we had this conversation, and I think it's matches like this where you just think, yeah, you can make a bit of a difference for us, especially against teams like a Palace or a Brentford or whatever it is. And then he goes and does it on bigger stages as well. So, happy days. But yeah, like over, that first half, I thought we could have just, scored maybe that third goal and then just ended it. But
we were playing like the term is with the handbrake on. I think, like you said, third gear. We were playing with handbrake, and now it's one of two things. It's either we weren't good enough or Crystal Palace were better and they sort of limited our options, because we looked devoid of any sort of flair or options, whether we weren't moving it quick enough or there was no one moving it in space. I remember thinking, there's no one moving. It was backwards, sideways, backwards. And I thought, who's it a pass to? And there was no movement. And I thought, Rice was up top at one point. Martinelli was just too far out wide. Obviously Sterling was useless. And I thought, who is coming for the ball? And there was no movement whatsoever. In Palace, to be fair, there was 5 at the back, and they had like 2 or 3 on Sterling at one point. Then I remember when Saka come on, it was 2 or 3 on, and it was really well played by them. But we were playing either with the handbrake on, or we just weren't good enough. It was a good test, I think, really good test, and it's probably woke us up a bit for the PSG game, because we probably expected us to beat Palace last night. They had the FA Cup done at the weekend, and I think it was a good test for us. And I think that if we'd have walked over them 5-0, we might have gone into the PSG game thinking, we're all right. But now they're going to have to be on the A game, otherwise we're going to get hammered.
Yeah,
if we play like that.
Yeah, and they've got players that will absolutely finish their chances and embarrass us. And, that's just something, not a thought that I want. But yeah, you're right. I think it could have been a wake-up call. And to be honest, looking at the pattern of the last month, it's been drawing the league, win Champions League, drawing the league, win Champions League, drawing the league, and then hopefully that trend continues, to be honest. And fuck it, like we said, 5th and the Champions League trophy, yes, I will take that all day, every day. Every year I will take that, no problem. So yeah, you're right. I think at this, the thing that frustrates me more is when Arteta comes out in press conferences and goes, over my dead body they're going to win the league, and the Premier League's not over and all this stuff. Like, don't say stuff like that. Just don't give pundits or opposition fans, just don't give them that Arsenal. Huh? No pun intended.
Ammunition, I know what you mean.
Yeah, don't give them that stuff, and just come out there, be like, okay, well, we fought, we're going to fight till the end, blah blah blah. That's it. Just leave it at that. Don't be giving these crazy speeches where that's it. It's all over the news now. It's all over memes now. Do you know what I mean? He's become a meme for saying shit like that over my dead body, and it's like, all right, Arteta's buried. So unfortunately, sometimes we do it to ourselves as a fan base and as a club. especially with Arteta, like you said, when you were talking about not watching the Prime series, sometimes he can be cringe.
100%.
He can be cringe, okay?
Yeah.
Be cringe in the locker room. That's fine, because most of the time we're not even going to know what's been said. But don't come on press conferences and spew some absolute garbage over my dead body. It's like, bro, you realize when you said that we were like 13 points behind, right? It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Like, it just isn't. So yeah, it's that's adding to like the pressure sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Or at least in the Premier League anyway. Because we weren't close, and we haven't been close for a very long time now, for at least a couple of months. In football terms, that's a long time, and it looks like we're slipping backwards in terms of the league. Performances, just nothing to be desired. Bring on Champions League opponents, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we were talking about, obviously we're second at the moment, and we're on about, will we hang on to second? We probably won't, but like you say, Man City have had a shit season to their standards, but we've won the same amount of games.
Yeah.
We've won the same amount, and I think we've both won 18 or something. That's like that, but we've drawn like 9
12,
or something.
We've drawn 12 matches.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was number 13.
Yeah.
That was number 13. So we've actually surpassed the invincible season of 12 draws.
Yeah.
We have that. We have that now. So yeah, all it says to me is that we have the players to win, but because we've got no one to actually go and attack and score goals, we have to rely too much on our defenders to keep us out of trouble. And for most of the season, if not all of the season, obviously it's not over yet, they've done that. The defenders have done their job to the absolute maximum that they could. But unfortunately, they're not going to do that and score goals. No. Gabriel, yes, he scored like 4 or 5 goals for us this season, but that's because of set pieces. We can't rely on defenders to win you fucking championships. It's just not going to happen. Defenders in terms of attacking. Do you know what I mean? Defenders doing their job, they've done that, but attacking, no, you can't rely on that. So that's what that tells me with them draws, and just hopefully that gets rectified.
I mean, looking obviously, if you probably heard the stat, we've had 9 draws from matches when we've been leading. So we've lost 18 points.
That's terrible.
18 points from winning positions. That's what's cost us, isn't it? Really. I mean, that's apparently that's more than the 2 previous seasons where we've been winning.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this has been a terrible season in terms of stats.
Yeah,
when you compare it to the last 2.
Yeah, but we've got the best. We've conceded only 29. So you can see where the issues are up top.
That's it.
And Arteta is the king of stats. So you surely
look at that.
We're not going to go down.
No. We've got the whole summer to discuss transfers and rumours and stuff. Yeah. But so in terms of the Palace match, I think there's no point saying, they were just waiting for the PSG game. It's like you've got 6 days between this match and the next match. You could have easily put on Saka, Odegaard for the majority of it, and that's why our midfield wasn't doing it, because unfortunately, as good as Declan Rice is, he's not going to be able to do 4 positions in one. He can't go out there defending and then he can't do his midfield job and then do his box to box and then be a striker. It just doesn't work like that, and that's what we were missing. We were missing that midfielder like Odegaard, who will basically attract players to him and free up space for a Rice or a Marino or fucking Trossard. Obviously, I know Marino wasn't playing, but that was the main issue. Like, why have you not put on Odegaard? Or why put him on with 4 minutes to go in regular time? Like, why would you do that? Just leave him off. If that's how much you wanted to include him in this match, just leave him off. Let him have a full game's rest. The damage has already been done by that point.
Yeah.
Had the damage been done by that point?
Who's this for? Saka?
For Odegaard. So Mateta scored. What was it? Made it to 83rd minute.
Yeah.
And then fucking, what was it? Is it? Nwaneri comes on. Did Odegaard play the full match?
I think he did, yeah.
Did he actually play the full match? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know I love Odegaard, right? But I swear to God, if he played the full match, I'm going to be pissed because I did not see him once.
he did.
He actually played the full match.
He did. I know. Yeah. He's shite. He's gone backwards this season. He has regressed.
Oh my God. I swear to you.
Did you think he'd come off?
I genuinely thought he came on at the end of the match.
No way.
Wow. I do not remember. I remember every single other player that played. Every single other player, as I'm going to mention, but I genuinely thought Odegaard came on at the end. That's how good he was.
Yeah, he has. He's like you say, he's regressed, hasn't he? He's regressed terribly this season.
He has, and the thing is, he assisted obviously with the first goal, which
he assisted Mateta as well.
Yeah,
for the equaliser.
God's sake, yeah. Oh my God, but that's how terrible he was for me that match. And for some reason, he got a 7 rating on Flashscore. Don't know how he did that. Anyway, so people listening out there, by the way, apologies, but that's how non-existent Odegaard was to me last night. By the way, I remember Nwaneri came in literally with 4 minutes to go. So yeah, it was just that was terrible. So there you go. That's why the midfield was disjointed, because Odegaard was playing but not really. So we technically had 9 players on the pitch.
Yeah, still in Odegaard didn't play.
Oh my God, that is embarrassing from my end for not remembering that, but also from Odegaard end. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm one of your biggest fans and I forgot that you played.
God,
Martin, you old bastard, Martin. But yeah, so there you go. And obviously, if Saka played from the beginning,
yeah, I was thinking
would that have made more of a difference? I don't know. I know
where you're coming from, because I thought, why didn't he start with Saka but we tend to get it wrong. Every time we think he'll come on, he starts, and every time we think he'll start, he comes on. And this is the thing with Arteta. I always think he gets his tactics wrong when it comes to things like that. And
he gets too much in his own head, doesn't he? He overthinks that situation. It's like, why? Just play him. If he's like, holding an hamstring or something like that, or saying sub me up, then do it. But just play him. He's played already. He's played one of the toughest matches that he's going to play this season against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu.
Yeah.
So just put him on for Palace. And again, even if it's like you said, the first 45 minutes, he could potentially make that difference.
He could have been out of sight. Yeah, he could have been out of sight. It could have been 2-0. But no, Arteta, he knows best.
Yeah, and so I think that kind of cost us, to be honest. But yeah, I still can't get over that Odegaard thing, by the way. That's terrible journalism from my end. There you go. But man, he was bad.
That was bizarre, because I remember texting you saying, it wasn't Odegaard's fault, and I thought, it wasn't Odegaard's fault, but it was a bit of Saliba and a bit of Raya and a bit of everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was Saliba's fault for the second goal. You mean for Mateta's goal?
Yeah, I mean,
I thought that was Saliba's fault. Yeah, 100%.
It kind of was, yes. And I saw, you look at the stills and you see Odegaard pointing back as though he's either saying, give it to Raya, or he was pointing to Raya to get back into his goal. But Raya, being Raya, is playing left back.
Yeah, absolute flapper of a keeper.
Oh, God, I'm getting a bit worried about him here. I can see why we'd potentially be getting Juan Garcia or whoever, because I think he could be under pressure next season.
I mean, we needed him to be under pressure this season, but he's played every single match, and unfortunately, just by default, I can't be mad at him. If he's not there, who's going to play it? Like, Neto's not playing.
Neto's shite.
So again, by default, I have to like him, I'm afraid. I can't really say too many bad words until the end of the season, because, we'll need him. But yeah, I think, there is moments where he has seemed shaky or shakier than what he normally is, because he's quite a big presence. I know he's not like the biggest guy, but he's quite a big presence in the goal, and his hands alone cover like 3/4 of it. So
yeah, he's 4'8", but his hands are like 8 foot. So.
8 foot each, yeah, absolutely. So but I think that's what probably happens when you've got no one chasing for your spot. You're safe either way.
Complacent. Yeah.
And complacency, that's unfortunately, if that creeps in, it's very tough to get rid of, because these are important matches coming up for both League and Champions League. Not just, obviously not trophy-wise for the League, we know that, but to maintain that second, or to maintain that top 4. Because the Champions League, that's not guaranteed either.
No.
That's not a guaranteed thing. So
I think we need 4 points, don't we? I think 4 points to guarantee Champions League, with 4 games left.
Oh God! So that's literally 4 draws then.
Do you know? I'm looking at the fixtures now. So the next one we've got Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I've wrote these down. So Bournemouth, we got beat off on 2-0.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
But that's our next game. Yeah, no, it was the Saliba incident. Yeah. But then we've got Liverpool.
Yeah. We drew against them, didn't we?
We drew against them. Yeah. But it was 2-2, wasn't it? Then we've got Newcastle. which we lost to.
Oh, jeez. And we have done, by the way, for the past 5.
Yes. And obviously then it's Southampton. So out of those 4, I'm struggling really to see a win, even at Southampton. As they're relegated, there's no pressure on them. You know, I'm struggling actually to see. I mean, if we get beat off PSG on Tuesday, I think he'll go all out for a win against Bournemouth. Personally,
yeah, he has to. He just has to. I don't think there's any other option that he can go to be honest. So, but when you, when you put it like that, those are like 3 of the worst teams that you can face in a season, because like we said, Bournemouth and. Who was it? Bournemouth and Newcastle.
Newcastle at will,
yeah. Bournemouth and Newcastle. Those are bogey teams for us, and they have been for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah.
Liverpool. Sometimes we catch them on a good day, and they beat us 3-1 or whatever it is. Sometimes it's vice versa, where but most of the times it will end up as a draw. At that point, they've already won the league, so. Yeah. I don't know how much they want to, rub salt in the wounds.
They'll want to.
No, they'll want to. 100% because it's their fans. Yeah, the fans definitely want that shit.
Yeah, so we're not going to get anything from them.
And Southampton. I mean, they could go either a 9-0 to us or a 1-0 to them, and they just shut up shop. Oh God,
it's horrible, isn't it?
It's a terrible, terrible position. I mean, with this draw to Palace, that's increased the pressure for sure. Because if we won against Palace, then I wouldn't even care about fucking Bournemouth.
No,
that's the problem.
That's what's pissed me off more than anything. The fact that if we'd have won last night, I think we'd have guaranteed top 4-5.
Yeah.
But because we've drawn, I mean, I know all the other results and a couple of the other teams play each other, but Man City, I think they're home and dry. They've got quite an easy run in. Newcastle play Chelsea, so effectively that's a slow. They could slit each other's throat there in a draw.
Yeah.
I think
obviously City won against Villa, wasn't it?
They were lucky. I was watching that. I was wanting a draw, and they got a win in the last minute, which was gutting. A draw would have been ideal, but
typical City.
And obviously Forest won as well. Forest won.
Yeah, well, so it's that Chelsea Newcastle that's probably the one that we need to keep an eye on, to be honest. Because
what we don't want is Newcastle's got to come to our place and have to beat us to get in the Champions League. That's would be horrible.
That would be fucking horrible. Oh my God. I don't even. Oh God. It's getting to that stage now where everything just seems to be improbable. Yeah, and horrible. Yeah, improbable and horrible. Improbable.
Yes,
but that's the same word.
But we've brought it upon ourselves by being lax and drawing so many games.
We have, and those draws. Oh my God. I mean, what did you say? 18 points.
We've
dropped from winning positions.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So we would have been, in theory, 5 points ahead of Liverpool going into this run-in. Wow. That is terrible reading of stats, that, by the way. This is why we don't do stats, because they are just nightmare-inducing stuff.
Yeah, I've got one final stat for you.
Go on, hit me with it.
So obviously the Saliba / Odegaard debacle towards the end, where we obviously drew. Now, errors leading to goals, right? What team is first for not having conceded, having a goal that was an error? So conceding from an error. So you've got 1 to 20. So you've got all the teams. So who would you think would be worse, or like the most mistakes?
The most mistakes, I don't know, like Ipswich or like Everton, Southampton or some shit?
Yeah, so Southampton are the worst.
Right.
They're last. They've conceded the most from errors. Yeah. Who would you think's first?
Like least conceded from
Yes.
Liverpool.
Us.
We are the least.
Yeah, that shocked me.
Okay, well, no, that actually makes sense, to be honest, because it's only been in the last couple of games where we've seen mistakes that have led to errors, and unfortunately, it's been Saliba.
You're right. We've only conceded one, which was last night.
And that was the only one.
Only goal from. But how many times have our hearts been in our mouths? Like every time Raya flaps about, passes it the wrong player. Obviously, we've managed to sort of scramble it away or whatever. But one goal.
We don't tend to lose the ball very often in our space, like in our defensive half. We don't tend to lose it very often. We've got very good technical players that can get us out of trouble. And there has been instances where obviously the ball has been given away. Rice has come back or Partey's come back and they've helped. Obviously when Gabriel was playing, he was chief amongst that, where it's like, okay, you've made an error, mate. You've literally just let him run past you. Go grab that ball. Do you know what I mean? Like where he has those weird touches and you think, you're at the halfway line. Why are you making that touch? Just control it properly. So, but that is quite surprising, to be honest. But at the same time, not really, because I mean the goals against kind of.
We've conceded only 29, haven't we?
Yeah. So that reflects that, to be honest. But
it's the other end of the pitch, isn't it?
It's the other end of the pitch, and that's always been the trouble, to be honest. I mean, the goals for kind of skew it a little bit, because you think, how have we even got that many goals? I mean, it's considerably less than what we had last season or the season before.
Is it 53 or something we've scored something this year?
Yeah. I thought it was like 60 something, was it? I think we're like 64 or 66 now. 66 and 29, I think that's the... I think, if I remember correctly, can't remember. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, 63-29.
Yeah, 63. Yeah,
63-29. So, and Liverpool got 75-31. So again, it shows Man City they've had Haaland, obviously, who hasn't been performing very well. Mamouche has been doing all right. So they're quite up there with goals. I think Spurs is 61-51.
Yeah, they're third, weren't they, or something?
They were third for scoring goals, but again, they've got problems at the other end, so opposite to us, really. But yeah, I think that obviously, Stevie, that is the main issue, mate. Like, has been for quite a while now, and I really, really hope that Berta and Arteta and the club just take it seriously for this season, because they cannot be delusional and be like, oh no, we don't need to strengthen up there. We just need a couple more defenders. Honestly, if that happens, I don't even know. I'm just not even going to watch any of the matches at all, because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be a repeat of the season. And not only do they need to buy one striker, they need to buy someone who could potentially be subbed in for that striker.
Yeah.
They need another two wingmen, and you know the rest. You know the story. You know how it goes. You know the song.
I mean, Berta was there last night. I was thinking there was a picture, wasn't there? It was on him for 2 or 3 seconds, and I thought, I wonder what he's thinking now.
Yeah.
I think it might have been winning 2-1 when it sort of panned to him. But at the end of the game, I mean, I know what we were saying about stats and Tottenham at the end of the pitch because their defence, and obviously we're second and our defence is pretty good. And then you think, well, if they go the other way, will our defence become a bit more open because we're relying on our attack? It's very tricky to get a balance right, I think. And I do understand partly where Arteta's coming from, because if you get the defence right, you're not going to concede, so you're not going to lose as many games. But our problem is, obviously, you can see we've drawn so many, so that balance to get the attack and the defence right is so important. And look at Man City. They've got one of the best attacks, haven't they? And they're third, fourth, kind of thing, about a shit season. It's the defence.
Because the defence has been absolute garbage, yeah. I love what Arteta's done, even though it's been painful to watch and to live through. But I love what he's done. The fact that he has spent a lot of time at the beginning of his Arsenal career, managerial career, he spent a lot of time and effort on the defence. He has strengthened it to the point where, yes, we are the best in the league, and there's no denying that. Any stats that you look at, even what you said there, errors leading to goals, one in 34 matches. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. So again, it shows that he spent a lot of time. The things that I think he probably hasn't got right was maybe the profile of player, where you think maybe a Calafiori, you know his past injuries. Why bring him in? Tomiyasu, he had some injuries at Bologna, but again, why bring him in? And
he's been plagued with injuries since he's been at Arsenal, hasn't he? I don't think he's
since day one. Since day one, yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Ship him out,
Timber is probably the only exception to that rule, because yes, he got injured with an ACL, but that guy has come back like he's got Terminator alloy in his ankles now.
He's one of my favourite players, Timber.
Without a shadow of a doubt, by the way. Like 100%. He's like a better version of what Sanya wanted to be. Yeah. And I just love to see that. Definitely. Like, it's like a Laurent / Sanya hybrid / a bit of Hector Bellerin in there, with the chaos.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely fantastic. So I think he's the exception to the rule. But the rest of the players, like even Zinchenko, when he bought him, injury plagued. Jesus, injury plagued. Even at that point, yes, it wasn't major like it was with Arsenal, but he had the history, had the track record. Do you know? So it's stuff like that where I get a bit frustrated with Arteta, because you think, okay, nice one, you bought a player, like, oh, we just bought Neymar, okay, great, but I'd want to see a player more than 2 games. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. Like, and this is the issue that he's encountered. So I hope he sort of puts a stop to that and recruits players who don't have a bad. Injuries can happen even if they're traveling on a plane, to be honest. But let's just minimise it with who you pick. The profile of player.
I think obviously Berta is probably got his eye on a certain amount of players. What I'm sort of worried about is Berta going to be liaison with Arteta, which I assume he will be, and they'll both be in kind of discussions to say, look, we do need this kind of player, that kind of player. But who do you think will have the final say? Can't hear you.
Yep, sorry, that was a rookie mistake. I think Arteta will have final say, to be honest. I think his role as manager and not just coach, I think that warrants for him to have the last say, to be honest. Because
so what's Berta's job? Is he just to negotiate, or is he target certain players? And
I think so. I think it's to do both, really, negotiate and target players, because maybe he wants to take some of that pressure away from Arteta. But even though Arteta will be involved in that process anyway, obviously, because I'm not suggesting that Berta's just going to pick players and be like, you're definitely buying him. No, it's not going to be like that. Like I said, Arteta will have the final say, because at the very least in his tenure as Arsenal manager, he's earned that respect. You know what I mean? For the club to be like, okay, I like your judgment, I respect your judgment. You've brought in some good players, you've done well, so we're just going to give you that level of freedom.
Do you think it'll be right? Okay, we'll sit down together. This is your final say. Look, you've got 3 players there. I'll try and get one of them, but if it fails, then ultimately it's Arteta's fault. Then, in that respect, isn't it? Because if that player flops, surely it is. If he has the final say, then it's on his head. Is that what you think or not?
It's. I mean, to be fair, it depends on the scenario, really. Because again, if Arteta goes, I want that £95 million player who is kind of unproven from the fucking Portuguese league, and then he comes and flops, then that's on Arteta. It's like, well, you spend 95 million on this guy, mate. So, did you do some research on this or not? But if he's going out there buying players like Trossard for 25 or 20 to 30 million, who are substitutes, who can come in and make a difference, or, sort of add to the squad depth, then, I think, I think if that player flops, I don't think that's going to be a massive issue, because it's like, okay, well, we brought him in for a specific reason. But the main overall thing is, like, for him not to have to do that in a January transfer where it's like, I need to bring this 30-year-old in or this 29-year-old in. That's what we're trying to avoid. So the players that he brings in, I really think the club will put enough trust in Arteta to be like, right, you choose, but just as long as you know that it is on your head, sort of thing. Which, even without it being said, it will always be on Arteta. It will always, the buck will always stop with him, unless, like we said, Berta goes, you are having this player and there is no discussion about it. Then that's a different conversation.
That's what I'm unsure about, and I don't think there's much clarity with that, because obviously, does Berta sit like me and you and think, well, I like that player, and I'm going to ring Mikel up and say, look, I like this player, we possibly could get him, or do you not like him? Is there going to be a difference of opinion? You know what I mean?
I mean, look, with any discussion, with any conversation, really, and again, all it boils down to is like the question that you asked. What's the relationship going to be between them? If it's going to be friendly, where they can sit down, like me and you, for example, have a discussion, then I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. The problem is if Berta, like you said, goes, I've seen X, whoever it is, I've seen him. I really think you should look at him. Blah blah blah. And then if Berta starts involving himself more into that sort of side without Arteta initiating the conversation for a player, then that could definitely be a problem. But the thing is, from what I've heard, I actually heard a podcast from Arsenal Vision podcast, and they had a guy who runs the Atletico Madrid fan podcast or whatever it is, and he was saying that Berta was more the guy who was sort of saying, who was scouting the talent. He was the guy who was scouting the talent.
Right.
The money and the decisions were made by someone else. I can't remember the owner of Atleti. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So he was basically he was a deciding factor. He was like, yes, you can
like
buy.
Us.
No, you can. Like us, kind of in a way.
He was scouting them. He said, I like this player for his attributes. He's great in the air, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So it was him. That's what I want to know, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for in a way.
So he was the guy who was scouting the talent.
Yeah.
And then obviously within that role, negotiating as well. But there was obviously Simeone and the guy above him as well.
Yeah.
Like, the actual owner of the club who was spending the money. They had involvement, and I think that's what led to, this is what I got from that conversation. This is what led to Berta leaving or wanting to leave.
Yeah,
because he wanted a little bit more freedom.
Unless Arteta sits down and he has like a list of attributes that he wants a certain player to have, and then Berta says, right, I'm going to go and look for that type of player for you, and then he'll bring 3-4 players back and say, look, I've got this, and this. They want X amount for him. I recommend him, but obviously, what do you think? Whether it's going to be like that or whether it's going to be, I think you should get this player because he's available. He's going to be 50 million cheaper. We don't know, do we? And this is we kind of knew what Edu did. He went and negotiated, he recommended players, and then it was kind of signed. You didn't really hear of Arteta getting involved much. I don't know.
No, not much, but I think that could, like you said, that could be a conversation that they've already had previous to Edu going out. Is like, okay, well, this is what I need, and I think this is why Berta has been watching the matches since he got employed by us. To be honest, that's why he's been to every single match, really, every single home match. He's been there, watched it carefully, because I think he understands what we need, moving forward. And again, that conversation's already been had with Arteta and the board when he when I'm guessing when he did his interview, when he was questioned by the club, sort of thing. So I think that's already been made clear to him, and the fact that he's around, I think he's probably going to enjoy the freedom that he'll get from our board.
Who do you think interviewed Berta? Who do you think had like a say in that?
I think
Josh, obviously. Josh would have probably had a say in it, I would have thought. I think Arteta,
like Tim Lewis or something, like chief executive officer or something like that.
You just kind of wonder what these men in suits do and what they're actually looking for. I mean, Berta's got a great... how do they sort of look and have a list of sporting directors from different clubs and think, we like what he's done there, we like what he's done, because they don't know him personally. They don't know anything about them other than the track record. So it's, how do they choose them?
But don't forget, these guys have got connections with other clubs. They can always ask, when employers ask for references and stuff like that, that's part of it. And again, track records, like I think he brought in, did he bring in Rodri? I think he brought in Rodri.
Griezmann.
Yeah, Griezmann. So again, Rodri came in, Suarez signed from Barcelona, Jan Oblak. Yeah, so there you go. Alvarez. Yeah, so again, very good track record. But I think those are the players that were needed for that specific.
Yes, but who wanted that? What my argument would be, or what my questions are, is so obviously he signed them. Who chose them? He signed them. You know what I mean?
He was the scout. He was the scouting guy.
Right.
He was the guy who scouted the talent. That's what I mean.
Right. Yeah. So sorry, I just want to get it clear. So I'm thinking that Berta is going to do exactly the same role he did for Atletico. So he's going to get those players that he thinks what Arsenal need, not what Arteta thinks he needs. That's what I'm getting at.
Don't get me wrong. It's like, these are just some of the players that he signed, but there is players that obviously haven't been. That haven't been liked by Simeone, for example, or by the owner of Atleti. So again, these are, and again, when you look at some of these signings, they're relatively cheap, to be honest. Like they're all
barring Alvarez,
which obviously I think that was the biggest one, and I think.
But he's been a success.
He has been a success, but I think there was some trouble with Alvarez because I don't think they wanted to pay that much. But that's he was.
Well, they also signed Gallagher as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Conor Gallagher as well. So again, these are all players that he's brought in, but I don't think it's a situation where he's gone against what Simeone or or the owner have said. I think he's been one of those situations where it's like, well, I like these players, I've seen these players, but again, that he's gone out there with a list of what he needs, with attributes, that Simeone says, right, this is what I think we need. Obviously, he's watched matches himself, so he knows. He's like, right, for Arsenal, for example, he's like, well, okay, main priority, we need to look at strikers, we need to look at forward players. That's what we need to look at. Yeah. So then he goes out, sees the attributes, sees how the team plays, because as much as he can watch it, he needs to be involved with Arteta in terms of, having that conversation. Oh, well, I think we need someone who can play like this, who could do this. Berta could even be like, oh, do you know what? I know the perfect guy. Let's see, what do you think of this guy? So I'd like to think that's how that conversation is going to go. But again, it's kind of hard to know without being part of it. Do you know what I mean? Because all we're gonna know is what they want us to know. If they're having trouble, sort of, in the locker room or whatever it is, we're never gonna know that if they don't want us to know. So it becomes a bit difficult, and it obviously falls into the realms of speculation because he hasn't even started his job properly yet. So we can't make any decision or anything about him, whether he's going to be good or bad. But from what I've heard, he sounds like the type of person where it's like he understands football, he understands good talent. So let's just see what happens. Let's just see if he can manage to bring the play that we've been wanting for a long time.
We need an Odegaard upgrade. I know he's your favourite player, but I think honestly, seriously, you've got to move on. You can't just stagnate and as daft as it sounds. No, he's the club captain, right? But I think Reich should be the club captain, and I think that we need an upgrade on Odegaard. Now, whether that's one area that will come through eventually and be his understudy, or whether he'll go out and Berto might say, look, Odegaard, as good as he is in fits and starts, he's not the strong-willed character, creative midfielder that he was a year or two ago. I honestly, I'm at a loss to think. I know you said it was Saliba's fault for that goal, but for the last few months, Odegaard's been really, really poor. He has not lived up to the expectation from last season. Now I know he's been injured. I know Saka's been injured. Blah blah blah, but he gets barged off the ball. He gets knocked off the ball far too easy. Any other midfielder in that position would not have lost out on Mateta.
Yeah, I mean that is fair, to be honest. But I think, and I know we discussed this a while ago as well, I think the reason for Odegaard's drop-off, it's been the inconsistency in the team, to be honest with you. Obviously, Saka's been out, Havertz's been out. They created a very nice partnership. Ben White, last season he was our main guy, and again, that was a great partnership there. That's why that worked. And again, with Timber, I think it's still going to be quite similar to Ben White, because they're both quite, kind of like bullies in the sense where they won't take any shit, they'll just go into any fight. And so I think that's why the drop off with Odegaard, to be honest. It's been the inconsistency in the team. It's been, you can't play with Sterling on the wing and expect Odegaard to do magic. You just can't do that. The only thing I will say about Odegaard is against him is that he needs to get his shooting on. Like, that's what he needs to do. He needs to improve on his shooting. Everything else, if he's got the players around him, like I said, if he's got the players around him, he plays very well, and he can connect both midfield, defence. Because again, he'll run into that deep line midfield role, pick up the ball, and then make a run. But again, if he doesn't have those runners in front of him, he's not Messi. We know that. We're not expecting him to be Messi or Ronaldo. He's the type of player where it's like, if he sees the runners, he will make that pass. Same as Ozil. Ozil was exactly the same player. He wasn't strong on the ball. He used to get bullied. We used to get pissed off. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Go to the gym or whatever it is. But once he saw that pass, there is absolutely no one to match Ozil. So that's I think like I said, it is fair what you're saying, but I think it's a bit extreme to be like, let's find an upgrade for him, because I'll be honest, like, who are you going to bring in for Odegaard? Like, who's better right now that we can go out there and buy? Like, I'm not speaking like, theoretically, like a Bruno Guimaraes or a Fernandes or whatever it is, right? Those are just examples. I'm not saying they're better. I'm just saying examples. Those players we can't touch. Like, who is out there that could potentially fill in that role?
No, I'm not sure whether that type of player is. I mean, I think we've been found out. Like Man City were found out this year. I do think a lot of players get found out. I know what you're saying, and there's not the players around him from like last season and early in the season, but this last season and the season before, he was great. I just think his style, his stature, his physique. I don't think he is what Arsenal need going forward. And now I know that sounds so controversial, but we've got Rice. Obviously, he's a big kind of marauding powerhouse kind of midfielder up and down the pitch. Maybe we need someone else like him, like Michael Essien type player, who can shoot, who's strong, who gets box to box. Odegaard, as much as I like him, he's a great five-a-side player in my opinion. He's not what's cut out for the Premiership. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be completely wrong, and next season he could be absolutely fantastic. But I'm just a bit concerned that he's found out. And I know he's one of your favourite players, and I do like him technically. He's really good, but I just think he goes missing in certain games where he gets bullied off the ball. And
I don't see Odegaard as an individual player, to be honest, as an individual sort of talent. I mean, yes, he is, like we said, he's a talented player, but I see Odegaard as the centerpiece of the team, really, where he makes everything tick. He reminds me of a Santi Cazorla, to be honest. Yes, Cazorla was stronger and he could, stay on his feet, but I genuinely think Odegaard, he is the heartbeat of the team. If the problem is, like I said, last season, the season before, he played fantastically well, where to the point where, again, this wasn't even a conversation whether he's weak on the ball or he gets pushed off the ball, because again, we had that much fluidity in the team that opposition defenders, that didn't know who to mark. And then all of a sudden you've got 3 players on Saka, 2 players on Martinelli, and then you've got Odegaard and Rice just roaming around being free. So that's what I mean. Like, he once he has that, and I know it sounds like a Goldilocks sort of situation, but that's kind of the player that he is. And if he has the team around him, he can perform magic. And I don't think it's a fair assessment to say that he's not cut out for the Premier League. Maybe, like, I will agree that he is kind of weak physically when you compare him. I'll agree to that. Of course, I can't deny that, because I watch him with my own eyes, and I do get frustrated. It's like, come on, mate, are you serious? You've got a gym in your house. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you taking a piss? But that's why I think it's a bit of an unfair assessment to say that he's not cut out for the Premier League, but definitely on the weaker of midfielders. Like, I've never seen Bruno get pushed like that. Either Bruno's.
But do you not think he, as good as he was for the last 2 seasons, do you not think he has actually been found out? And all good managers and all good players will suss that out eventually. Now, he's had 2 great seasons. The first season when he was with us, he was finding his feet, obviously, because he'd been released by Madrid. Yeah. Obviously, then for the last 2 seasons, he has been fantastic, but he's had a bit of an injury. Yes, I know he hasn't got the players around him, but maybe he's just being found out, and that was my assessment, to think that maybe he should move on from him and get a different style of player, possibly.
Yeah, no. Like I said, you make a good point. Like, it's not. There's no way anyone could dismiss that point about Odegaard, because obviously, if there is a better upgrade out there, then yeah, absolutely, let's go for the fucking better upgrade. But what I'm saying is, like, for what he offers us, and to go through the trouble of trying to find someone who could do what Odegaard does and more. Because that's what we're looking for, really, aren't we? We're looking for what Odegaard does plus more. But to go through the trouble of finding that specific player, that's A, going to cost a lot, and obviously B, it's going to take a long time.
I've got an ideal player.
Do it. Tell me.
Played for Palace last night.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%. He dictated their play last night. He was so confident. He had the vision. I know he had Wharton behind him, but Wharton wasn't that great. No. He was okay. But I just thought if Eze was in our team other than Odegaard, I think we'd look a lot stronger. And he is physically better. I know he doesn't run around a lot, but he did chase back and he did pressurise our defenders. He is playing that kind of creative midfield through ball. And don't get me wrong, he is fantastic. He's on a par with Odegaard, if not better at things like that. And look at the goals he's scoring. I think
the level of control that Odegaard brings to our team, it is unmatched, to be honest with you. I don't think
If you had the opportunity now to have Eze or than Odegaard, would you choose Odegaard?
Yes.
I know, because you're bumming him.
I'm not. It's not even about that. It's just I appreciate what he does for the team. And again, those runs when he picks up the ball from Partey or from Saliba, for example,
sideways.
He makes those runs. He makes those spaces. Like I said, if he had the right players around him, and look. Okay, I'll tell you what. Next season, if we get like a Williams, for the left wing and Gyökeres, and we've got Saka, Odegaard, and them two. If for the majority of the season, like if he has a performance like he's had this season, then yes, it's like, okay, you've been found out, you can no longer be playing for us anymore, right? Never mind being a club captain, you can't play for us anymore because you've lost that power that we needed. So I think, coming off the back of like 2.5 good seasons for us, or first 3 seasons, let's say, for us, to go, we need a replacement, and he's not sufficient for the Premier League. I just think that's a bit extreme, to be honest. That's my point. It is a bit too extreme.
If you stand still in the Premiership, you will fall behind.
And that's fine. That's fine. But again, it's the fact that he's come from this injury that he's never had before, right? And I'm not going to use that as an excuse to say that is the only main reason. No, I'm not going to use that. But that is something that will affect players.
Listen. I know exactly where you're coming from, and it seems very harsh to say, look, we need to drop Odegaard, or we need to drop Raya, or whoever. It does seem harsh, but who are the winners from the past 20 years in the Premiership? Managers. Name
Pep,
3.
Pep, Klopp, and Ranieri.
No, I'm going to pick someone that you won't agree with, but
Go on,
yours
hit me with it. Who?
Yours here.
Mourinho?
Yes.
What? Sorry. Wait.
What I'm going to say is he is a winner, right? He won with Chelsea, didn't he? Yeah, he failed with Tottenham, which obviously forget about that, and Man United. Although he did win the Europa League, but for Chelsea, he was an absolute winner, wasn't he? Him and Conte were absolute winners, right? And
I agree.
They don't have any kind of sentiment towards a player because they like them, they've come through, they're a nice guy. If they're not good enough, they're out. And I think that Arteta's problem is he's too loyal to certain players, and as much as I do like Odegaard as a player, I think if you can have a winning mentality as a manager and be ruthless and say, look, if I do agree that you probably have to give Odegaard at least next season to see what sort of players are going to be paired with him, because he could be fantastic again. But what I'm saying is, if the players that he gets next in the summer don't complement Odegaard, then he's going to look kind of the same as what he has done this season, which is not good enough in my opinion. But I know what you're saying, you love him, and
no, but surely though, going into the transfer market in the summer, surely Arteta, if he's made Odegaard club captain, and there is, it doesn't seem like that's going to change, surely that he's going to base his new signings around what Odegaard can do. And the thing is, it's not even any specific striker that we need. We just need someone who is a striker and who knows how to score goals. That's what we need, because we haven't had that. And we've had too much confusion around that sort of area of the pitch where it's like, does Martinelli go? Does Saka go? Does Marino go? Does Trossard? I don't know who's meant to be where. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes Odegaard's game has just resulted into crossing the ball in. And he's got some excellent crosses, but again, most of the times that's just not going to work. So again, he needs that player to make that through run. Like with Saka, they know each other very well, but it's only 2 players at that point. Do you know what I mean? Especially on that side of the pitch, and because it just the whole team
one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very one-sided. It's not very balanced as a team, and that's contributing to some bad performances, not just from Odegaard, but in general. So that's my view on Martin Odegaard. I think he's a brilliant player, and unfortunately this season there's been a few things gone against, not just him in terms of injuries, but even for the whole squad in general as well. So but from what you're saying to not, to be like, definitely he's not for the Premier League, it's just a bit on the extreme side for sure. But yeah, Stevie, look, we sort of went away from the Palace game there, by the way, but there's nothing else to add to the Palace game. So I'm glad that to be honest, I'm glad that we had that conversation, because it's good to see where certain fans are, like myself and yourself included. It's good to see where we are in our thoughts for the team. And in no way are you wrong or am I wrong or whatever it is. That's not what's happening. It's a healthy discussion to see options or to hear options of where the team can go next season and in the future. But that's the only time we'll tell. We'll have to wait until we get there. We've still got the rest of the season to finish yet. We've still got Champions League semi-final, and hopefully we've got 3 Champions League games to come. So 2 definitely, but let's make it a 3rd. So
yeah, agree. Yeah, we've got the 4 games in the Premiership as well to not look forward to. So I think we've really only got 3 games left, haven't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Again, just based on last night's performance, it's only 3 games. That at least the 3 games that the team's going to care about. So if the team don't care about them, I'm not going to watch them or just put them on in the background as background noise.
Yeah.
And hear Alan Smith take the piss out of us every chance that guy gets. I think someone just, the other commentator should be like, Alan, you won the '89 championship for Arsenal, right? Like, you are a club legend, or they deemed you as one, but apparently not anymore. So
yeah, I think obviously Gary Neville's give up doing commentary, hasn't he? Because obviously he predicted us to win the league this season, so I don't think he wants to be on it anymore.
I know, but then
he'll do the Liverpool game, won't he?
He predicted us to win, but then he's proceeded for the whole season to talk shit about us.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how that works, but I think it's maybe because he's trying to backtrack on saying that we're going to win the league. He's like, well, technically,
he's talking us down now, isn't he?
Yeah. Shut up, Gary, you dumbass. Anyways, right, we will be back before the PSG game.
Monday night, possibly.
Monday night, yeah, to do a quick preview of the match, and then obviously we'll be back after the match.
Yeah.
Thursday or whatever it is. Whenever it is, Wednesday, Thursday, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it. Stevie, if you don't have anything,
there's no Formula 1 this week, is there?
No,
is it next weekend? Is it
next weekend? Yeah, next weekend. So we'll have a chat about that at some point next week, and we'll do some predictions for that as well. Yeah. And if you have enjoyed the episode, please do leave a like, leave a subscribe, leave a review, all that type of nice stuff. And if you have any questions for us that you want us to discuss in the show, then please get in touch on Blue Sky, Instagram, all that stuff.
Or if you want to actually partake.
Absolutely. There you go. Yeah, if you are an Arsenal fan or a Formula 1 fan, please do reach out if you want to join us, if you want to be part of it, and have a healthy discussion with Larry and Steve. Please, you know where to find us. And Stevie, if there's nothing else that you want to add, mate, let's bring it to an end.
Okay, Lazar, Larry. Au revoir.
Love it. Love it. Right, we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay alert.
Bye-bye. CC.